Hi, I wanted to speak with you today, those folks who are on an initiatory path, and talk about the importance of examining your lenses and frameworks that you're utilizing and kind of why you're utilizing them to make sure that you aren't obstructing or making your own initiatory experience more difficult. When I say initiatory experience, I'm talking about the process of being transformed from one way of being in the world to another that usually involves um, kind of becoming a vessel for a deeper intelligence to work through you to have an effect in this world. So I have an upcoming book called Savage Awakening that I'm writing on this process, and that'll be out sometime this year. But for those of you who know, you know what I'm talking about. And the frameworks and lenses that we look through are um, things that determine what we see and the way that we experience things. And if we don't examine the lenses and frameworks that we're using and don't cultivate helpful lenses and frameworks helpful to our initiatory experience, we can actually have a much harder time than we need to. Um, you are allowed to be a person as you go through initiation, and we're all, if you need insulation or support or help, or it's just too much and you need to take a break or whatever, you're entitled to use lenses and frameworks that enable you to have a feeling of more safety or insulation or a pause of some kind. All right. It's just that when we're using lenses kind of as a default and we assume that they're true, we take it for granted that these are accurate, and we don't think about why we're using them and in what way are they helping or hindering our initiatory process. That's where things can get tricky, and it can make you feel very anxious or confused or lost. It can make you feel like you are going around and around in circles. You keep repeating the same lessons. You're not getting anywhere, that the initiatory particular aspect of the initiatory experience you happen to be in just never ends. It's just over and over and over, hardship, 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 hardship. And you might be wondering why. And I think that if there's something in that for you, it would be examining the lens and the frameworks that you're looking through. So I'll give you an example. Um, the law of attraction absolutely antagonizes the initiatory experience. The law of attraction is this idea that we attract certain experiences to us and that we can have different experiences come to us by doing certain things. And depending on who you listen to, it's having emotionally charged affirmations that you're saying or deciding on things. But when you look at it, the law of attraction is very much rooted in having a sense of control, in directing the types of experiences that you have and the things that occur in your life. The initiatory path is kind of the opposite. It's not being in control. It's being pulled along by a deeper intelligence and having to grow to be able to respond to the ways that you are getting pulled without knowing what you're getting pulled into or what you're becoming, right? So there's kind of an absence of control. There's a lot of co-creation and partnership and choice within that, but you aren't deciding the types of experiences you prefer to have. You're not trying to curate the experiences that you're having. You're along for the ride, and you recognize something else is guiding you and pulling you and working on you and massaging you into becoming a different creature, right? That's initiation. So if you're adopting frameworks like law of attraction and you're in an initiatory process, look at that and examine what that law of attraction perspective, what it's serving in you, and then say, can I let go of this perspective, but still address my need within the context of initiation, right? So one way that might occur, so say, for example, at the core of your draw or your clinging to law of attraction is a feeling of not being cared for, or a fear of not getting supported, or a fear that if you change too much, you'll lose everything you've built, or something like that. There's some sort of material security or physical security that you are fearful of not having, right? So instead of meeting that need through the lens and framework of law of attraction, you can look at what might be a more aligned way, a less antagonistic, like initiatory antagonistic way. What might be a more aligned way with my initiatory process that I might meet or speak to or address my fear of being without. So maybe you go to your altar and tell these deeper powers, I don't want to have to allocate resources that I need for the process of initiation to try and survive in a human created realm of materialism where I need to pay rent and buy all of my own food and pay for my power and things like that. Please help me. Please take care of that, right? Here's some offerings, whatever. Just um, be in right relationship with these powers and tell them what you have need of. This isn't like praying to a Christian God, right? This isn't like that. This is coming from the perspective that you belong in the greater fabric of reality. You're part of an interrelational ecosystem. And that a part of being in an ecosystem is that the ecosystem provides for the beings in it in a way that enables everything there to get its needs met in a fundamental kind of way. Like bears can find caves, birds can build nests, food grows all over the place. We belong in these systems. Now, we're predominantly, modern Western humans are predominantly in human communities, but getting our needs provided for in a human community is letting people know what you need, allowing the receiving of support or food donations or housing help or whatever it is, people talking about your business, people promoting your work, whatever it is, allowing for that rather than the law of attraction. You say affirmations and do it all privately and put all your work into like controlling the universe to give you what you want, you know? So it's really looking at what lenses and frameworks am I using and why, and then addressing the why and pulling it over into the context of your initiatory process, right? And looking at that why as a really like rich territory for what in you might need to transform in order to be a better initiate, right? In order to better experience the initiatory process. And there's a lot of fear, rightfully so. There's a lot of fear in the initiatory process, and there's tons of uncertainty. And in a culture that is really, really hyped on control, the initiatory process is very, very different reality where it's not about control. Control isn't part of the physics of the initiatory process. Relationship is. So the part of us that has had broken trust and not experienced belonging in human communities, and we've experienced betrayal or being outsidered, if we don't outsidered, that's a good word, if we don't conform or whatever it might be that our strange little souls have had struggles with, it's recognizing we need to learn how to be relational. We're going to be on a learning curve with how to be relational in an ecosystemic sense when we are carrying baggage and wounds around our experiences of being modern Western humans. So, not that there is a right way to become aware and navigate the territory of your lenses and frameworks. It's simply that you have it on your radar. You begin to explore it and question it so you can integrate it and integrate those parts of yourselves that are leaning on these things that are maybe antagonizing your initiatory process, right? To just begin to surface and explore those things and integrate them in over here in different ways and being creative and letting it occur to you that these things can be addressed and can be brought over to kind of the altar of initiation, right? To be tended to differently so that you don't unintentionally keep thwarting a process that's trying to work and transform you by clinging to your ideas of how things need to happen. Right? We all do it. There's nothing wrong with it. So I'm not saying like this is some big problem that you have to fix. I'm saying that the more conscious we can be of ways that we are participating in our process versus antagonizing it, we create a better possibility that it might be a little bit less hard than it needs to be, right? Because it's already really hard. Initiation is a very hard process, no matter what. But maybe we're making it a little harder than we need it to be. And so a huge component of that is exploring your lenses and your frameworks that you're utilizing that you might not be conscious of, and why you're utilizing them, and then taking the why and shifting out of one context into a more initiatory aligned context. Okay. So just thinking about it, doing a little detective work with yourself. What beliefs do I have? What tools am I using? And just look at those and go, why am I using these things? What do these serve? What beliefs inform? So, like in law of attraction, I'll just keep using that as an example. In law of attraction, there's a belief that we can control life in a particular way, right? We can control life in a particular way, and it's not relational. In a more relational context, we can, I wouldn't use the word control, but we can sort of influence outcomes, or we can have an influence or a say in that relationally. So it's more co-creative rather than controlling and dictating and deciding, right? It's subtly, it can be very subtly different. It's not like some glaring thing all the time, although it can be, but it's subtly different. So looking at that and just being very honest with yourself, and don't throw out your needs. Don't ignore your needs. Don't intellectualize or analyze your needs out of existence because you think I should just be in my initiatory process and be fine. You be a person, be a scared human, be a struggling human. That's okay. Address that. Just address it in a way that's actually aligned with what the reality of what you're really going through, rather than antagonizing it. And I'm specifically talking about that initiatory process where a deeper intelligence and a deeper force has you by the short hairs and is pulling you into a type of transformation so you can become something other than what you are, right? That's specifically what I'm talking about here. So I wanted to offer that with you. And if you are feeling stuck, or if you're really struggling or feeling like you're really just getting your butt kicked, it may be that there is something you can do about it a little bit. And it might be that you examine these lenses and frameworks and kind of do some detective work and see if you might be getting in the way of a process that's really happening, and pulling you along with it. It's like fighting the current versus not, right? You're in a current. Initiation is a current and has a hold of you, and you don't have a lot of like power to kick against it. So learning how to be in it in a more skillful way, so that you're less exhausted by the process that is already very difficult. Okay. I hope this is helpful for some of you. And I hope wherever you are in your process that you're getting some breaks and some supports. And I hope that this might be one of them for you. All right. Have a great day. Bye-bye.